Good morning, everybody here. The Honorable Bu Satyana, Miss Anna Haranas, and also all of the lecturers here. We will have this kind of 3 sessions or 3 series of workshop regarding writing the scientific facts that will be published later on in journal, probably. Yeah. So Miss Anna Haranas will help us in doing so. And later on, at the end, each of the paper that we have been reviewed or have been proofread will be sent to Miss Anna Haranas. So it means that in Lebaran holiday, you will bring our task to India, right? Because you will go to India, right?
Yes, I'm going to India for 10 days.
Yeah. So meanwhile, you bring along our assignment.
Yes, I'm going to a wedding for 3 days. 3-day wedding.
This reading. Oh, I see. Okay, here we have Abdul Aziz.
Yes.
Yes, and also Pak Amiruddin. We call Bapak. And then Bu Tuti, Bu Puji Astuti, Bu Hani, Bu Indrani, and also Bu Lida Mahmud. Okay, I think before we start, we would like to, is that possible for us to introduce each of us so you can identify which one name Pak Nahoras. This is Pak Nahoras, our handsome guy here. And then it's also Bu Tutut Sumartini. Yeah. Yeah. So I just give the session to you, Miss Anna Haranas, to lead this program. Yeah, time is yours.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So if you, well, I'm assuming that you know each other, but it would be really good if you could turn the camera on.
Yeah.
There's a few people that I know that I've seen before.
Yeah.
So Mr. Aziz and Tutut, I know her really well, and I think there's a few other people too. But if you're in a place where you can turn your camera on, that would be really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like I said, I recognize more faces than I recognize the names. But there is a few here that I know that I've seen before.
Yes.
So everyone is working in the English department?
Yes.
Okay. That's all good. Now, I actually wanted to start off before we go into this by asking a few questions. And so, can you see, I'm going to share this PowerPoint with you.
Yeah.
Can you see what I have written here?
Yes.
Because obviously when we talk about publishing, what I wanted to know, and this varies a lot. So with the university, what is the standards and the guidelines for publishing that you have? Number one. Is this different for the students than what it is for lecturers or anyone else that wants to publish? And is it different for different departments? Because I would assume that if I say worked in engineering and I wanted to publish something, say, around electrical engineering, that would be then an electrical engineering association who would have guidelines for what they want to publish and how they want to see it. So what I wanted to know is, have you got a guide for publishing? And if so, is it in Bahasa or is it in English or is it the same for the 2 languages?
I think it depends on the journal that we want to send it, right? So for the time being, we don't have it, but at least we have also the guideline for writing the scientific writing. It's only the things that we have known now.
Okay. So if I was employed by you and I wanted to publish, would you have something in writing that told me what the font needed to be in the size of the font or spacing or which dictionary to use or how to reference? Have you got anything like that in place?
Yes. Yes, especially we have usually we have 12 font size and spacing, it depends. And then for referencing, we also have now in our university, especially in our department, we have APA 7 for referencing.
Okay. And where are you planning on publishing?
Maybe Bu Indrani will say something about that. Your plan, Bu Indrani?
Okay. Hello, Anna. Thank you for sharing with us. We have problem with actually not all the journal has the same regulation on the template, but mostly we use APA, and the problem is each university has what we call OGS, okay, open journal activity, and they have also their own regulation.
Yeah.
So it's very clear. Sometimes indeed we have to adjust ourselves to the journal regulation, but the standard will be Scopus. Is it clear for you? And
clearer, more clear. So, I mean, one of the main thing is when you are writing or publishing something, regardless of what it is who's going to be the audience. So who's going to read this? Is it going to be people that work in other universities, or are you publishing work that's going to be used by the students, or what? What are we hoping? Who's going to read your journals, basically?
yeah, that's very true. For your information, in our policies of higher education, indeed the lecturers and as well as the students are required to be able to write journal articles.
Okay, so it's just basically the technical side of it that you have to be able to do it for whatever.
Very true.
I would expect that what you publish, though, would be at the level where you would write to other lecturers or other people that are at the same academic level as you are, whereas students, I would think, would not be at that higher level. Yeah.
That the gap is very high because the students, our students is not familiar with writing yet because our culture is more to oral. And then on the other hand, the lectures also have a lot of duties besides writing for journal. So sometimes it's another problem that we have to face if we have to to go together. We become the first author and then the students become the second author, but it doesn't work all the time very well.
Sure. Okay. Now, I emailed some learner material to Ibu Tirana, which I want you to have a look at. You don't have to read it completely. It's more at the level, I would say, that students would use. Students who come into university here, and this would be an introduction for them, you know, how to write a simple document, and then the next step would be how to write a more complex document. And so you can have a look at it in your own time, but I think it might be useful for yourself as a reminder, if nothing else, if you already know it. But I know that there are some people that have contacted me with recently that would need the learning material basically to be at that more simple level, so that they can then move up after. Now, just because it says simple here doesn't mean that it's going to be simple to write in English. Am I right? It could be planning documents, drafting documents, and finalizing documents. The process is the same, whether it's simple or more complex. And when we're talking about papers that are backed up by research, they are usually a little bit more complex. But they can be simple too. The language in them can be simple, like I said, depending on the audience, because you can write about your research and what the outcomes are at a simple level, so we can have a wide range of readers read what you're publishing, which is ideal, because then students can read it too, without having to have a dictionary or Google translator in one hand. So using simple language can be quite good. Now, the first chapter in this learning material that I've sent to you talks about planning a simple document. And I'm not going to spend too much time on that, because you can read it in your own time. But like I said, the basics are pretty much the same when we're talking about the five characteristics of a document: that it has to have accuracy, clarity, conciseness, coherence, and be appropriate, basically. And for those of you who are not so clear about what's concise and what's coherence, when we're concise, we write with as few words as we possibly can to convey an opinion or a meaning. We don't elaborate in long sentences where we lose the reader halfway. We make it very clear, very concise, very direct. Coherence is basically like building bridges between islands, when we want to take the reader from one idea to the next one. Appropriateness is, you know, are we using the appropriate language at the right level? I've already talked to you about these decisions that we have to make, who the audience is going to be. You have to know who you're writing for. Whether it's an academic journal or it's a short email that you're sending to someone, you need to know who the receiver is, so that you can give them the right message and make them understand what you're trying to tell them. We have to make it clear that what's the purpose of doing this. I mean, we've all been at a point where we've tried to explain something to students, and halfway through they all look like they're going to go to sleep and then sit like this. So they don't understand why you are trying to teach them something, what the purpose of the discussion is. And then, like I said, different organizations have got policies and procedures for how we document, how we write emails, how we speak on the phone, what can go in our marketing material, what does a business letter look like, how do we want our academic journals to look, anything that we publish. And I think now, because of the information society that we do live in, most organizations, so definitely most universities here, have got what we call style guides, and they include everything that you want to know. So when a new staff member comes in, you hand that over to the person, and they say to them, okay, if you send an email, this is the introduction, this is the body, this is how you finish, this is how you set up your signature, this is the information that we require you to put in, you know, your name, your title, your contact number, blah, 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 blah. We've got a style guide for all that. This is how you answer the phone. You answer the phone this way, and that's the only way. These are the things that you can publish on social media. And if anything else is going to be published, you know, you have to have approval from the marketing department or whoever it may be. This is when you can use the university's logo. And the list goes on. And that, like I said, would also include how, where, and when you can publish. And they usually are quite detailed. And at the end, the new staff member signs off to say, I have read this, I understand, and I will abide by these rules. And that's just to avoid for people to publish things, say on Facebook or LinkedIn or something that's not very appropriate. Or that they publish something, even an academic journal, that hasn't gone through all the steps of, you know, being proofread, edited, someone has approved for it to go into publishing. So that's about that. So, like I said, deciding who the audience is extremely important, because we want to know how much they already know about the thing that we're going to publish. I don't want to tell you people, for instance, a lot of things that you already know. And some of you will already be familiar with what it's like to publish an academic journal, because you may have done it yourself when you were at university doing your degree. But like I said, so we need to know, are they familiar with this topic already? How much do they actually know? And what will they do with the information? What's their position in your organization? Are they internal or are they external readers? All important knowledge. So, you know, we have to have a purpose for why we're publishing. Why have we been doing this research? Quite often when academic journals are being published, it's because someone has found a gap somewhere. They looked at what's already been published, and then we find a gap. And this is the gap that we do research on, and this is why we want to convey the outcome of our research to the reader. This basically just goes through the same thing. Who will receive the document? What do they already know? What information do they need to know? And do they need to take any action? What do you want them to do after? Like I said to you before, most organizations, businesses, universities have a style guide, and they will determine what memos look like, what emails look like, business letters, meeting agendas, the lot. And then we have the design elements. So the fonts and styles and the headers and footers and footnotes and spaces, what images and graphics can you use? What's the paragraph spacing? How much white space goes around? and the guidelines for referencing. This also goes into, which dictionary are we using? And I would assume that with American English, it's Webster's for your organization. Purpose of a style guide I've already explained to you, and you can read in your own time. So I'm just going to go through this quickly here. Any comments? How are we feeling so far? Am I talking too fast? Can you follow me?
Yes, we can follow you.
Good.
No, that's okay.
It's all right? Otherwise, you have to stop me.
No problem. No, it's okay. It's just right.
All right, let's skip through. All right, so say that when we are writing anything, anytime, gonna write this academic journal, we have to start with a draft. Or I should say, first of all, you have to do some research. You have to have done some research, and hopefully your research will have had some kind of result or outcome. So then what happens is, you've collected all this, you've done your research, you collected the evidence or the numbers or the statistics or whatever it is, you have already got your facts and figures. They are sitting in a box or in your head or on paper, wherever it may be. We have to write a draft. If we don't write a draft, it's just going to be a disaster. So can anyone who has already published and who has spoken to students about this tell me what the different parts of an academic journal is?
Well, excuse me, I'm not really sure about it, but so far that we have been doing in here is the background information or the verse part, and then come with the literature review, followed by a discussion and finding, and then come with the conclusion and suggestion.
Yes. So that's usually how it goes, and most people will write the conclusion and then write the introductory paragraph where you tell the reader what's actually going to be in
Right.
the thing that they read next. And I found that works really, really, really well. But you have to set it out, and I will send you the different headings too that needs to go in, so you can put in your information underneath. This is the draft. This is the draft that we have to do when we decide what information is going to go where. And this is where you're trying to communicate the key points of your research. But Amy, that was a really good answer. I think you will be, we'll get you through this. So you write your draft, and I would encourage all of you to try and draft in English. Don't write the draft in Bahasa and then translate. It's better if you can try and write the draft in English. You'll get a better flow, and it's going to help you down the track when you start doing proofreading. So once you have put in the draft, which is just like, okay, this is what I'm going to do, put in a few points. Here are my statistics, here are my numbers, here's the outcome. We check to make sure that the draft meets the purpose of why we're doing this. If we're saying that this journal will be about students entering our university. I'm just pulling something out of my head at the moment.
Mhm.
Then when you've written your draft and you read it, does it actually talk to the heading that you have up the top? And you'd be surprised how many times there is a gap between the two. Someone will start up the top by saying, this journal is about blah, 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 blah. And then you read the introduction and you think, oh, okay. But what follows on after is completely different. So that's where you lose the reader. Make sure that the different parts in your draft belong together. And at that stage, when you have put your draft together, you may find that you need additional information. That is not enough. You may not have enough references or enough facts, or you might have to put in some spreadsheets, or you might have to go and find other sources of information. Who knows? The draft needs to be looked at. And if I were you, and this was the first time that I had to write something like this, I would definitely go to one of my good friends and say, Miss Anna Sittepu, would you please read this? Can you read my draft and give me some feedback? And I think that's a really good way, because you haven't really started doing the serious work. This is just a draft, but someone else can read it. And I can say to Miss Anna, do you think that once I finish this, do you think that the students will understand? Or do you think that the other lecturers will understand, depending on who my reader is going to be? And she's always really lovely to me. So she's going to say, yes, I'll give you some feedback. And then I'll say to her, okay, let me see what you wrote. Let me look at your draft and I'll give you feedback, because feedback is super important. It tells us if what we have up here has actually translated to here. And doing at the early stage is really, really, really good. So we have developed the draft, and we throw our pride out the window at the back. We are ready for feedback. We want people to be nice and polite, but we want them to actually tell us what they think. And why this happens is because it is a draft, and we don't want any parts of it to be incorrect. We want to stay on that right track that's going to lead us to writing success. So factors to consider when you're drafting a document. The document must appeal to the audience. We want the readers to get sucked in. I think this is really interesting. I really want to read this. I can't wait to get to the end to see what the results are going to be. We want to be concise and to the point, because this is academic. So we are producing facts here. We're talking about results. We've done our research. We're talking facts. And we also want to use words that can be understood by as many readers as possible. So, and readers are diverse, as you know. We don't want to use any words that can be interpreted the wrong way, basically. That's what I'm saying. So be very careful with language. I always do a writing plan. And my writing plan will be that on Friday, I will do my draft. Then I will send it off to Miss Anna for feedback. On Saturday, I will write my introduction and the main body of my journal. On Sunday, I'm going to do my own revision and editing. And on Monday, I will get someone else to edit it. And then by Tuesday, I will send the finished product, my journal, to Triana and say, here you go. This is my academic journal. So I'm very structured in that way. The reason why I'm dividing it up over several days is that I want to sleep in between. If I just sit and work on something for 12 hours, I won't see my own mistakes. No one does, because your brain is very good, especially when you get a little bit tired, at reading something the correct way, but it's actually not on paper that way. And if you walk away, you have a break, you come back the next morning, all of a sudden you will see all these mistakes and you think, how didn't I see that? And even more surprising, if you think you've done everything 100% correct, and then you wait for a week, say, and you open it again, then again you will find something. And again, you ask someone else to help you with the proofreading. But like I said, I would not sit down and just do 14 or 16 hours of writing an academic journal. No way, because I think that would be a disaster. It has to go over several days. You have to gather your thoughts, and as annoying as it may be, doing it over 3 or 4 or 5 days, I think in the end, it's going to work out for you. So this is also very basic level, and I mean, this is the next chapter that we're going into with the students now, when we have talked to them about simple and complex sentences, and they are now going to start to write paragraphs. You will be writing paragraphs too. So the structure of a good paragraph, we have a topic sentence where we tell the reader what is going to follow. And then we have a body. So these are the supporting sentences that explain and expand on the main idea. And then we sort of have like a conclusion before we start the next paragraph. Well, I've already talked to you about checking that the draft meets the document purposes and requirements. So this is a second check that we're doing once we have written all our paragraphs. This is a bit of repetition, so I'm just going to flick through it. By the way, I'm going to send you all these PowerPoint presentations so you can go through that. You can use it for the students going forward if you wanted to, and chop it up. And you will find that it follows basically the learner material. Now we're going into the process of proofreading and auditing here. And it has several steps. One of them being that I always go back to my writing plan and I check to see how well what I produced has followed it. Checking for content and checking for grammar and spelling are two different things. You cannot do all at the same time. It is impossible. Facts, figures, getting your point across is one thing. Does this paper that I produce make sense to everyone? Is it easy to understand what I'm talking about?
Yes, yes, of course. Yes, it is.
Yes. And, you know, is the information concise? I always do the grammar and spelling towards the end. Sometimes I do it in the middle. Sometimes I do it twice, because once I start changing sentences and thinking, oh, you know, maybe I should change that sentence. Maybe I should expand on it, make it clearer. Maybe I should change a few words here and there so that it would be easier for the reader to understand. If I have done the spelling and grammar check before, I'll have to do it again. Because once I've started doing changes in the different sentence structures and additional information and you name it, obviously, I'll have to do spelling and grammar again. Now, I'm not sure, but I have an impression that some people here, when you're writing in English, don't set the proofing language to American English on a Word document. I'm assuming that everyone writes in Word, and I would assume that your proofing language on your laptops or computers are currently set at Bahasa. But if you're going to write these scientific journals in English, you need to change your proofing language to US American English for that document. And obviously then when you go back, you need to reset it again, but it's not that hard. Even I can manage that. That's also going to give you a lot. If you got, I don't know what version you have of Microsoft Word, but if you got 10 or 11, the proofing in there is quite good. It's not always 100% correct. You still have to use your brain, because there are so many words that are spelled different and mean different things depending on how they're spelled. And if it's spelled correctly but it's the wrong word, it will not come up as a mistake, because Word is not that smart. If you put it in Grammarly, if you have access to Grammarly, then Grammarly will more than likely tell you when you have put in the wrong word. Or Grammarly will tell you how to maybe rewrite a sentence and reconstruct it. That's the advantage. I know that some people in the other departments at your university has told me, and I can understand that it's really hard if you work in engineering, for instance, and you want to publish something. And they have told me that, you know, they have to use a lot of technical terms, specific terms. So they write in Bahasa, and then they take the text and they put it in ChatGPT and asks ChatGPT to translate. But they come to realize that ChatGPT is not always right, not always that smart. So they then go back and put it in Grammarly, the same text, to make it better and to see what the improvements need to be. And then they put it back in ChatGPT again and ask ChatGPT to improve the language. Like I said, I don't think it's the best way, and definitely not for you working in the English department. I would not suggest that you do that. It's going to be better for you, yourself, and the students if you try and write in English. Because it's like I said to these people too, that when you do that, you're actually not learning anything. You're just copying and pasting from one to the next. And I said to them, next year or this year actually, when you go to this international conference, you've published something, an English-speaking person comes up to you who has read what you have published and starts asking questions because you haven't even tried writing this in English and you haven't memorized all these terms and expressions that you are using in your journal, you will not be able to answer their questions. And I said, that's not going to look very good. And you know yourself what happens when students have been using ChatGPT and they copy and paste and they put it in as their essay. And then you go back and ask them questions like, what did you mean when you said whatever they have said? And they can't answer. And you know that the reason is that they actually haven't written it themselves at all. They have used other forms of getting the information in. So I actually had a meeting, or yesterday I went to a party and there were two English teachers there. They both have been teaching at university. And they were saying that, one of them was saying that she had recently a class with 30 students, and they were all first-year bachelor's degrees. And she said to them, I just want you to write 300 words about this topic, but you have to leave your phones at the entrance, and I need you to write it. Yeah, paper and pen. Everyone gets paper and pen. Write 300 words about whatever it may be. And she said, I was actually shocked at how many students could not even introduce themselves on paper and tell me, you know, what their name were, where they studied before they came to this university, what their interests are, what they look forward to, why they're studying English, what their career is going to be. The list goes on. And that's just really not good at all. So she said to me, I failed them all. And I said, it's probably good, because that's a bit of a wake-up call for students, that they know that you are requiring something of them which they are not used to doing. So sometimes we have to be a little bit like, you know, a boss lady or a boss man when we deal with students. So the checks that we need to do in this journal writing is we have to look to see, like I said, if there's any missing data or incorrect calculations. And that's probably more relevant, like I said, for engineering, math, science. When they have been doing research, it's really imperative and important that all their facts and figures line up. But sometimes I've seen it also in humanistics, where someone says, oh, you know, we did a survey and we surveyed 50 students. We asked these questions. 50% of them answered this way. And then they say, oh, so 35 of the 50 said whatever. And you think 35 out of 50? That's not 50%. So we have to be really careful whenever we deal with numbers and facts and calculations. Consistent formatting, the number of times that I have seen one font size 10 on one page, and then I go to the next page, and all of a sudden the font size has changed, the style has changed. there's different headers and footers. That's not very good. So making sure that everything lines up, that we've got new pages, not in the middle of a paragraph, ideally. That, the page breaks are there. And I just realized after I had sent this learning material to you that when I moved things from Word to PDF, it actually changed some of the page spaces. So if you find that there is a paragraph or sentence or something that's over 2 pages, that's the reason why it's like that. We must ensure that the document doesn't leave out any important instructions, contact information, statistics, things like that. And that, whatever we say is clear and concise, and that there is a logical flow. Okay, enough about me. How are we feeling? Do you all think that we can go ahead with this? And if so, when are you going to start writing? And also, do you know already what the topics are going to be of the research and what you're going to be writing about?
That is the biggest challenge.
Thanks, Amy. Yeah, so have you got any set? Have someone at the university said, I'd like you to write about, or, do some research on this, or we found a gap here?
Yeah.
Yeah, or do you have to come up with your own ideas?
Actually, what I plan is by having this class, we at the end can do some revision of what we have done in our research, because at the end of the semester is our time to submit our research. So I think it's a good way for us to do some revision of the paper. Then at the end, we only want to add any important things to be published. Am I right, Bu Ami? So we just use our research draft that can be submitted at the end of the semester. So we use those documents to be submitted, and therefore we can start from that one by doing this task given by Mrs. Anna.
So what's your research, Amy?
Yeah, Wami, what's
Um,
your research?
Okay, well, oh my God. It's not really easy to answer, but yes, Miss Haranas, this one is really the first time for me meeting you. I've really to come with my biggest challenge. I feel that's my language ability, blah, 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 the one that you mentioned is actually good. However, the very biggest thing is actually to find a qualified journal. There are so many people that said, to be able to publish qualified journal, you need to be able to find qualified resources. And the challenge in our university, they don't have any access in Scopus, for example, or those kind of qualified journal. And that's make us not easy to find a qualified journal. That is number one. And then, well, for really I myself actually, I'm really blind of the research method. And that's when I'm there, whenever ideas stuck, and then I'll go back from the beginning again. Now, however, I'm thinking about having how AI, well, this is really pretty new, how AI support university student in doing their assignment, and that's still limited resources. And I'm really trying to make this to come true or to happen, but yeah, I'm still trying to find some qualified resources on that.
Yeah, there's lots of things happening online at the moment, but like you said, it's all very new. I don't think it was until October, November last year that this really exploded.
Yeah.
So I don't think that there's lots of discussion in many universities, but no one has really done the research
Hmm.
in a factual way because it keeps on going like this.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So, like I said, you talk about the growth that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I made a mistake. Oh, I shouldn't call it a mistake. I found this AI group on Facebook because I have used it myself. I've
Mm.
used it myself to get clarity about topics that I was asked to review, and I had no idea basically what I was reading. So I had to, but oh, okay. But I found this group on Facebook that talks about how you can use ChatGPT and other AI.
Uh-huh.
But the way that they come up with new ideas and the changes, I could sit there every day and just read through and just go, oh, okay, oh. Because that's how fast it's changing. So at this particular point in time, I'm not sure, even if you go online, you will find a lot of opinion because people have opinions about everything. But I don't think that there's been a lot of research, factual research that has been completed. So you may want to narrow the topic down a little bit because I can see how by the time you write this and publish it, it's already changed. That's how quickly it's changing.
Mm. Mm.
So not that I want to discourage you at all. I find it fascinating topic, but like I said, and quite often, I mean, the students are much better at using these tools than I am, definitely, and most of us are. So you might want to choose something because this, like I said, in the next couple of years, I think there's going to be lots of research done, not by individual people as much as by groups of universities that are going to be looking into this. But if you're really interested and this is what you want to do, go for it. I'm not sure because it's such a big topic. And
Well,
might have to, the research might have to go on for years.
apparently there are only two published in Indonesia with which has been successfully published by using ChatGPT as I have heard about it. But this one is again the series 4 because this one is updated until 2024, unlike the ChatGPT 3, which is no need to subscribe, that there are no sources about it actually. So yes, you are right. It's really need to be considered.
Yeah, and I mean, with the original ChatGPT that were made broadly available, like I said, I think it was in September, October last year, and where the free version is now, it's quite different.
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So anyone else that needs to write apart from Amy? What about Asan? Is Asan there? Does Asan need to publish something?
Pak Ahsan.
Silakan Pak Ahsan.
He might got freeze seeing the picture doesn't move.
Yeah, could be. Could be. What about Anita Kusumavati?
Bu Adita,
Yes,
you want to say something?
and nothing.
So what do you think about ChatGPT?
Miss Haranas, may I ask you something about, well, really, this is my really big curiosity, if it is possible.
Sure.
Again, the resources, the qualified resources. There are so many. If you don't have any access or you are not subscribed into, Indonesia is really popular with Scopus, and this is very expensive to be able to subscribe into that. How would you be able to get qualified resources in order to be able to generate qualified writing?
Well, that's a good question. Because if I go on the internet now, here, I can find a lot of good resources without subscribing. So maybe, Amy, if you decide what your topic is going to be, and if you decide what information you may need, I'll have a look and see what I can find for you.
Oh, you're an angel. Wow.
I'm not.
Well, temporarily it's still AI, how AI is for this university student assignment.
Okay. I will have a look and see what I can find
Wow.
and download it. So let's see here. I'm going to put my email address here. Come on. So you can send me an email. So I got your email address, so I know. I'll do the research and then I'll see what I can find, but then I can contact you. All right?
Definitely I will. Thank you so very much.
That's fine. We're a team, remember? Okay. Miss Anita, what is your topic of your research going to be?
My current topic is about contrastive analysis.
Sorry, analysis of what?
Contrastive analysis.
Okay.
Yeah, I compare between two languages, between Indonesian and English.
Excellent. Excellent. That would be really interesting. So have you started doing your research?
Actually, I did the research previously, on this topic.
Yeah.
So currently in this year, I try to expand the content and the scope of the research.
Yeah.
Actually, I found difficulties on finding some reliable resources on the languages, because I focus. My scope of research is on elements like structure. It is like declarative sentences on those two languages. So it is a bit more challenging on find out the available resources on those two. Because this is a really the scope is really on the small elements, like in sentences we focus on declarative sentences. So I think I'm doing the research on it.
No, that's interesting. That's really good, and I'm sure it's going to be really beneficial too for everyone. So that sounds really. look forward to reading what you are producing, Anita. That should be really good.
Maybe if I have some, I mean, my draft, can I share with you, and then I can, what to say, receive some feedbacks from you, Anna? Is it possible?
Yeah, of course. Send it through.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you
Well,
in advance.
Yeah, Bu Anita, this is what our class is for. So later on, our draft will be sent to Miss Anna Ranas to be reviewed, and then we can get the feedback from her. Is that right, Miss
Wow.
Anna?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then, yeah.
Oh, this is sounding really good. Now, who else is willing to speak on the microphone? Have we got Astari Amalia there?
Yes, Miss Hananas.
So
Can
what
you-
are you going to, or what have you researched and what are you going to publish?
I mostly do research in translation, and for this year I researched about I combined the translation research and pragmatic in speech acts. So the I see I analyze the speech acts in one text, and then and further I try to see what are the translation technique it has when I try to translate it into Indonesian. So I see whether the different types of speech acts can result in different types of translation techniques.
That sounds really interesting too. And I look forward to reading
Thank-
your journal.
Thank you, Miss.
All right, who else have we got here? Jeannie Kuniati. Is Jeannie there?
Jenny.
Silakan Bu Jenny.
No. And have we got Hani?
Bu Hani. Umi Hani. Bu Umi Hani, silakan.
Okay, next one on my list is Indrani.
You are muted, Bu.
You are
You are-
muted, Ibu.
You are muted.
Ibu Indrani, you need to unmute your speaker first.
These things happen.
Sorry. And now with my granddaughters here, so I'm afraid the noise will be disturbing. But anyway, sorry about it. Because we are having holiday and I'm staying with my grandchildren. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. My proposal of the research has been checked by you, and I just realized that my style of writing is still influenced by Indonesian way of writing. And that's also another question that I would like to ask: how to make an English academic writing style? That's the first one. And then the second one, I would like to also to ask your assistance. After I finish with my research, I have to put it in an article. Is it possible for me to send it the proposal after that as an article to you?
Sure. No problems. And I will send you all, because there's a few YouTube clips that I hope that you can access that talks about how to write an academic journal. But there's also guidelines for how to do it. So I'll put all that in one document, and then you can read it in your own time and hopefully access the videos. The videos are quite good. And then if you still have questions of how to do it, you got my email address now, or we can talk about it when we see each other next. All right?
Yeah. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
And one thing regarding the artificial intelligence, nowadays we can use Yanni artificial intelligence, especially for journal articles. It seems to me it's a very common nowadays to use the assistance of AI, but not 100% taken for it. We still have the function to modify or to make that articles or that helps by the IA as an only tool. So is it possible also, for instance, I use Yanni for my article, but I'm not depend 100% on the AI, but still having my own style or my original writing. Is it possible? Is that okay nowadays?
I have to say it before I can answer that question. Give me an example. Send me an example and I'll let you know.
There is an application for writing, especially journal academic writing, by using an artificial intelligence called Yanni. This application is really for helping us as a, let's say, writer or research to write an article journal helped by the IA called Yanni. My question is that okay to use that, but still we have our own, let's say, opinion or modification or editing, because it's very helpful, okay? It's not like the what is it, traditional or classical IA. In this application, you can use, for instance, the reference automatically. For instance, you choose APA, then they will help us directly to apply all the reference with APA automatically, something like that. So it's very, for me, it's very useful.
I would use it if I was you, definitely, and the students will use it too. I think we should use all the tools or resources that we can, because that's what everyone else is going to use. But, and I think the really important part of what you just told me was that you say that I would still like to put in my own research or my own thoughts. And this is where it makes a difference, right? This is where it makes a difference, because AI, up until now anyway, can only deal with information that has been put in, that someone has already researched or written or published or what have you. But when you do your own research and you come to some other conclusion, or your research shows this result, that's current versions of AI, as far as I know, cannot think ahead or draw new conclusions. You can only work on what has already been put in. They're saying in the future, AI is going to be smarter than us and will come up with, new ideas about things. But at this current state, it can't. So I think that would be really important if you put in your own thoughts and add that into it. But as far as using it as a tool, definitely. Students are going to use it, everyone else is going to use it, so why shouldn't you? you would still have to proofread them, because
Yes.
these apps are not perfect. Neither are we, for that matter. But you know, they can only work on whatever has been put in. And I think at the moment there's lots of absolute rubbish that is getting put in,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So we can't trust it. We can use it as a tool, but we can't trust it. All right. So yeah, that would be really good. Okay, who else have we got here that we haven't heard from? Who else is doing research? Let's see. Linda, Linda, are you doing any research at the moment?
Linda Maisari.
Linda.
Yes, ma'am.
So what is the topic of your research that you're going to publish, Linda?
Some difficulties. Some difficulties. Sorry, ma'am. Some difficulties. By student. Simple present tense. At Center High School.
Okay, well, you can email me, Linda, because you're obviously with other people. So who else haven't we spoken to? Bang Bang.
Yeah.
Iravan.
It is actually Bambang, ma'am.
Bambang.
Yes, the way to pronounce
Bambang.
my name, it is Bambang. Okay, Ibu Haranas, thank you very much. Nice to meet you. And currently, we are doing a research on linguistic, focusing on analyzing what we call as semantic, actually, focusing on semantic. So we focus on analyzing just like a comments on Facebook. And then we analyze the head speech on the comment of Facebook, which focusing on, because currently in our country, we have finished conducting this presidential election. And so the topic about general election is still hot. And we focus on analyzing this one for comments on Facebook.
That would be fun.
We are still on progress, actually. Probably we're going to finish it next month. So I hope we can finish it.
Sounds fascinating.
Yeah. We focus on actually analyzing the metaphor.
Yeah.
The metaphor,
yeah.
yes. The metaphors that used to promote hate speech and Facebook comments.
Yes. People get very involved in comments on Facebook.
Yeah, because the topic is really, really hot here, and then also sensitive because so many people talks about their what we call as their candidates to be presidents, and we are interested in conducting that one. Hopefully we can find a lot of metaphor promoting hate speech on Facebook, although to be honest it's really difficult because most people tends to speak directly to say hate speech without any metaphor. That's our problem, actually. It's really hard for me. Not really hard. I'm not saying it's hard. Maybe a little bit more challenging for us to find out the metaphor used to promote hate speech. That's the problem, Ibu Haranas.
I know, it's just interesting Because
Thank you
I don't
very
know
much.
if you know, I am married to an American and they've got a presidential election coming up.
Yes, 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 yes. I know it, I know it.
And you know, the extended family is in two camps, the Trump camp
Yes.
and the Biden camp.
And I go with Trump
And they're
actually, man.
here. So at the end of the year, we're going to see all these relatives, and I've already decided I have no opinion. I have no opinion, and I'm not talking.
Yeah, it happens
Not
also in
politics.
Indonesia.
Probably a smart way of going around it.
Yes.
Yeah, but that sounds really interesting too.
Thank you very much.
I really look forward to seeing that from you. That would be really good.
Sure, sure.
Now, Nahora Spona Simarmata, excuse my pronunciation. It looks like you're on the beach somewhere. Are you in Bali?
No, that's just the wallpaper. Miss
Power of
Aranas,
AI.
Miss Aranas, thank you for your great presentation. But this has been very, very long, and I'm a bit ashamed to ask you about this one. The point is how to be consistent to when conducting a research, because sometimes we have the full energy for doing that, sometimes we are distracted. I know I think we can in the beginning I myself make a commitment. I will do this on every Thursday or on every afternoon, but it just disappears, especially when some kind of another thing I have to do. And how I think you can share for us how to come up with this kind of this kind of thing.
Yeah, you should have a talk to my husband. My strategy is that I get up in the morning and then I think, oh, I have to do this. And then I make lots of excuses. I'm so busy doing other things. And then in the afternoon, I'll go and complain to my husband about all the things I have to do. And then I talk to myself and I just say, okay, just do it. But I don't think it comes easy for anyone. Everyone's got, we all got busy schedules. If it's not, I got grown-up children, but you're looking after your grandchild, or you go and you do some volunteering, or you have people calling you and say, okay, I'm going to publish this, can you help me with this? And then you think, in your head, you might be thinking, no, I don't want to do it. But what comes out of your mouth is, yeah, sure.
So different.
So I have to sometimes, like I said, sometimes I have serious talks to myself. And I just tell myself, just do it.
Oh.
And it's surprising when you do it, once you get stuck into it. Once you start, I think it gets easier. It's that starting that I think is hard for everyone, regardless of what you do, regardless. And we're all very good at making excuses.
But
I get up every morning and make excuses.
But in some cases, Miss Haranas, I start something very good, very well. But when I see something distracting me, like another things to do, and I just stop in the middle. And sometimes it is almost a few more days to finish, something like that. That's why be consistent is, for me, I think the best challenge.
Yes. But it's just making the time to do it, because we all have got 24 hours in a day, and then we have to take away sleep and eat and all that. Right. We all got the same time. But I can make a confession now, because I've been trying to learn a bit of Bahasa on Duolingo, and I was doing really well because I had my alarm set on my phone. So every day at 9 o'clock in the morning, my phone would ring, bing, 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 time to do language. And then I would sit down and do it. Then I had some visitors come and I thought, I can't have this phone ringing. I'll just do it, you know, at any time in the day, which means that I haven't done it now for 4 or 5 days. So I think, you know, I can only work by setting time and schedules, and I write lists of what I have to do, because otherwise I'll just make excuses for why I don't have to do it. That's how it is. I think we're all human in that way. But what kind of research are you going to do? What are you writing about?
I am researching about translations. I am really interested why why paraphrasing is the dominant strategy when it comes to idiom or figurative expressions.
Sorry, I'm just making notes so I can't remember.
Yeah, because sometimes I found out that how to say this, actually there are the idioms in the target language, but the translator just not realize that the idiom exists. And the other things I find out that the translator maybe prefer to paraphrase the idiom because he thinks that it is easier to understand by the by the readers of the target language.
Yeah, and that's why it's so hard to be a translator.
Yeah,
it's actually hard because there are lots of words in different languages that don't have a translation, words or expressions. And with expressions, if you just translate them, it means nothing in the other language. Or there are words that you may use depending on your location in the world that doesn't exist in other parts because you don't have the same environment around you, as you would already know this. I don't have to explain it to you. And I mean, quite often, if you have read something or you're looking at a movie and you have the subtext down below, or you've read a book in one language and then you pick it up in another language and you read it, you read the same book and you think, that's not what they were saying.
yeah.
It's completely different message. So yeah, but that's really interesting. I'll be interested to read what your research shows. That sounds really good. So who else? And when do you think you'll be finished with it?
I think I will use this holiday to finish.
Okay, that sounds good. I will have lots of interesting.
Yeah, I just hope to be consistent. Just that's the biggest challenge.
Okay, I will give you lots of feedback. All right.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma'am Haranas.
You know, I'll just say to you, I don't understand where you're going with this. No, that sounds really good. Who else have we got here who hasn't spoken so far? Anyone that would like to take your microphone and say something?
Hello.
Yes.
I have a question here. I want to ask you about the case that I have. Actually, when I took my degree, I did my research for students paper, and then I submitted to the uni. And now, actually, I am interested to make it as experimental or maybe as a research to in my in this what to say right now. I mean, and then I found that my 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 writing, because it has submitted to the uni, the Turnitin say that it is kind of plagiarism and something that I can't. I mean, my Turnitin high because of that. In the writing, actually I wrote it by myself. So in this situation, I need to paraphrase all the things that I have written. I mean, is it possible to use my writing when I did my degree, mainly on the literature review, and then I add some maybe I brought the limitation, or maybe I just like make it as experimental research, and then I can use it right now for my research. Do you get my point? I mean, I try to say.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So
I definitely get it. The reason why I definitely get it is that I have written so much learning material in the last few years, and I've proofread so much learning material. And we're basically at the point where, especially if you write about something that you or someone else has been published. I mean, if you look at everything that's been written, say, in business management, you cannot write something new that doesn't come up as plagiarized and turn it in. It doesn't matter how many times you rewrite, it will still come up as plagiarized. But I think in this scenario, I mean, I'm not the one who would make that decision, but I would say that if it's work that you produced a few years ago, and it is your work, then there shouldn't be a reason why you cannot use it or build on it. Sorry. That would be my point, but that's basically for the university and maybe Ibi Triana to decide where we go with this. I'm delegating that answer up to you. Or Dana, what do you think?
Yeah, Bu Anita. Bu Anita.
Yeah,
I think it depends on the date of your research at the first one. If it is out of date, it means that more than 10 years, then it will be something that we need to update it. So when the first study have been done by you?
actually, it is not. I mean, when I did the research, it's like a literature review. Sorry, what to say? I mean, this is the research is only by reading some literature and then give our point of view, and then we just like show our stance about the issue. And then right now I'm interested into making the research, taking the experimental, or maybe taking the data from the real life, but still the discussion about the STEM issues. So this is much more okay. I do kind of for example, explore what to say explore exploratory research or experimental research. But the literature review, I mean, some resources that I use still there on my student paper, and then I think it's still updated because maybe just like less than 10 years ago, and then so apparently the Trinity say this is plagiarism because student paper that I submitted to the uni. So I mean, is there any way that possible that I can claim that this is my writing because the student paper is not yet published in the
Did-
journal.
This is what we call by, what is that? Is there
Self
anyone know?
plagiarize.
Yeah, self-plagiarize. Yeah. Yeah.
So it is really good for Ibu Anita to include her own references on the very first hand. If I'm not wrong.
Yes, self-plagiarize.
Okay. Self-plagiarism, yes.
Yes, yes.
So we can't claim that it is my writings. I can use it because I want to publish it on a journal. And then it has different discussion or something because it's like only the reading, actually the literature review. Yeah, look like similar. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, Ibu Anita. As far as I know, you may pick up some important point, provided that you quote or you put references on your own. Where was it published, and the very first one, and then you quote it as your own. So Anita 2018, for example, blah blah blah.
Sounds like a good idea.
Oh,
You can reference to yourself.
yeah.
That should work.
Okay.
But you probably should
Thank
update.
you.
Okay, who haven't we heard from today? Anyone else that would like to take
Hilma
the mic?
Sapitri, Pak Kamil,
Hilma,
Pak Mujib.
you want to say something? Because Bu Hilma dealing with process methodology in our department. So maybe Bu Hilma will say something about. Silakan Bu Hilma.
Thank you, Budriana. Actually, I cannot say anything right now. I just arrived from Ciputat. I just arrived in Bekasi, so I cannot say things right now. Later, perhaps. To Bu Anita, perhaps you need to do re-tuning again because we had problem with our web regarding to the tuning last time. So if it is possible for you to do turn it in again, your draft, the original one. You can ask Bu Puji, ask for help to turn it in your draft for the second time, Bu Anita, if it is possible.
Okay, Bu Hilma, thank you. Thank you, Bu Ana and Bu Tri.
Bu Tri, I cannot say too much right now. I'm sorry. Later, perhaps, Bu Tri.
Yep. Okay, Bu Hilma.
Bu Tri, can I ask something? Hello, Bu Ana, can I ask something, Bu Ana?
Oh, yes, silakan Bu Tutut.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Absolutely, I haven't heard your voice today.
Very good morning. I'm happy that you will assist us in writing a journal there. I have a draft. Just finished the draft. Which do you think is better, that I check it with Turnitin first, then send it to you, or send it to you after that, waiting for your comment, and we do also the Turnitin test?
Well, you can send it to me if you want, or you can send it to a colleague if you want that too. They're both fine. But I've got a bit of time now, so you can send it to me if you could.
Miss Anna, can I have, may I have something or say something? Yeah. Bu Tutut and other colleague, actually, this program is conducted to have the proofreader from Miss Anna Haranas, can be maybe later on reviewed by her. That is why we conduct this session. And after this, after we get the whole session, we will send it to her all together and then get feedback from Ms. Hannah Haranas. What is it for? The function is to let our paper is normally can be understood by other readers, especially from outsider. So that is one. That is why after having discussion of this material for 3 days, we will have done, we will collected our paper, and then we send to Miss Anna. Is it okay with you, Miss Anna?
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. This is not fun anymore because there's so many paper.
I'm a very fast reader today.
Okay.
Sorry,
And-
Miss Anna, Miss Triana.
yeah.
Is it the full version of the draft, or maybe the draft that we are now? I mean, like the complete draft, like until the conclusion, or is it okay if we submit the draft until chapter 4, for example?
Since we have time to do that one, so maybe the thing that you have now, you can send it to us. For instance, if you are still doing in chapter 4 or in the process of processing the finding and discussion, it's okay, as long as you give us the draft, and after that it will be submitted. When is the due of our submission? On July, is it in July?
Yes, Ibu, in July.
Yeah. So it means that as long as we have already finished with doing the paper, whether it is from chapter 1, not chapter 1, finding, or chapter 4, then we can send it to Mrs. Anna Saranas at the I think at the next 2 meetings, right, Bu Anaya? The next 2 meetings, because we have another 2 meetings with Miss Anna. Then after that, we will submit our paper based on the suggestion from her. And then after Miss Hannah Haranas going back from India, then we will get the feedback. And then from the feedback, we can continue to finish the paper, hopefully.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah,
I
that's the
don't
plan.
want everyone to just write and go, oh, well, we can edit this. Yes. If you don't have your word on American English, and there's just spelling, grammar mistakes everywhere.
And then,
did you know about the boomerang?
Yeah.
In Australia, it goes straight back.
And then in doing so, we are having a partners. For instance, here I am together with Bu Lida Mahmoud to finish our paper, and then maybe Bu Indrani with her partner also. So we will send it in one paper for like Bu Anna, Miss Anna Setiana, with whom, Bu? She forget the partners. Yeah, so we will send it in G4 in G Drive, so you can do whatever it is, and then we will get the result. Okay, like what I have sent Bu Indrani's paper and another lecturer's paper. Thank you so much for that one. Yeah.
What you will find too in this learning material that I've sent to you, that there in chapter 2, there is a checklist for how you can self-edit, which is something that I would encourage you to do, because after August, I'm gone. So you're going to have to do your own editing and support each other. So I want you to try and as much as you can to present something that I'm going to be very happy reading. Because like I said, if I can see that someone hasn't even tried to produce something that I can read, then it goes straight back, or I might have to have a one-on-one meeting with that person. But I think that's, yes. Would anyone like to add to this conversation? I realize we've gone over time, haven't we?
Yes, Anna, is it possible also that I would like to have you as a proofreader for my students? We would like to have a book chapter for students' essay. Of course, I will choose the best one, and then after that, I would like to give it to you as a proofreader, and make it into a book chapter which is going to be published. Is it possible?
Yeah, but you people that are here today, you're the most important people. You're number one.
Yes.
The
Oh,
students
that's so
are
kind
number
of you.
students are number two. But you're number one, definitely.
Okay, thank you so much, Anna.
I'll do what I can, but I think I'm going to have a few things to read in the near future. Just a little guess.
Okay.
That when I give you feedback, I actually don't want to just fix everything, because you will learn nothing. I want to take the time so I can put in some comments and explain why something should be changed or could be changed or may read better if, and you're welcome to argue it too, because maybe I have misunderstood what you mean too. I might say, I think you should change this, but that's not right because your research has shown something different. So there has to be a bit of a conversation between us, because you are the researchers, not me.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. That's been a really enjoyable day today. And I look forward to seeing you again in the near
Tomorrow?
Yes.
Tomorrow.
Yeah,
That's
tomorrow.
in the near future, tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Tomorrow, and the last one is next week.
Yes.
On Monday, yeah, Monday. So thank you so much for joining with this class. Colleague, all of us will enjoy the next session with Ms. Anna Haranas, and hopefully we can start doing our draft. Yeah, even though we have done it, but we need to check it, not to make us like some wow looking it back. As Anna mentioned, that we will realize that we had mistake after leaving that paper 1 or 2 days, and even now maybe we left that one for 1 week. Then we can see that we need more improvement in our writing. So thank you so much for joining with this class for today, and then we will have the same meeting also for tomorrow. And don't forget to check again our paper, our draft to be sent. And thank you and good day.
Everyone, see you tomorrow.
Thank you.